We're live. Welcome back to Her Table, your seat at the conversation about work, life, and what's next. Today's episode is a really touching one. I'm joined by Ishmael, a London born Gambian and the founder of Golden Youth Football Association. Ishmael spent over a decade building a self-funded football academy and senior team in Gambia, not just to develop talent on the pitch, but to support young people through education, mentorship, and real-life guidance. This conversation is about football, yes, but it's also about dignity, discipline, hope, and creating real alternatives for young people who are navigating limited opportunities and difficult choices. I'm so grateful to have Ishmael at the table today, and I can't wait for you to hear his story. Welcome, Ishmael.
Mhm. Thank you. How you doing? You good?
You are more than welcome. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. So let's get into it. For anyone meeting you for the first time, who is Ishmael?
Well, I guess I'm Hackney born and raised, so East Londoner. Um, I'd say I'm a
Yeah.
family man. Um, Passionate about my football, as everyone's probably kind of guessed. Um, so yeah, I'd say that kind of sums me
Yeah.
up in a nutshell. Um, and yeah, like I'd say like passionate about youth
Great.
work. Um, and yeah, I'd say that's pretty much me. Um,
Amazing. What was
Mhm.
growing up in London like for you? How did football shape you as a person?
um, yeah, like I said, being born and raised in Hackney, it was eventful, let's say. Yeah, I'm a '90s baby, so yeah, so those that kind of know a little bit about Hackney or similar kind of areas can kind of imagine what that was like. Yeah, I wouldn't say I got into like too much trouble, but I wasn't ever too far from it either. When I was growing up. So I'd say that like so I'd say so uh so football for me was definitely a positive distraction. Something that, I never needed really like pushing or motivating to do. Um so yeah, so that was definitely beneficial for me. Um
Yeah.
yeah. Uh And yeah, so I think it was definitely something that like also provided like a bit of like structure and definitely helped with my discipline. Something that, I guess I'm still working on now. You never, fully
100%.
perfect to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that was definitely something that like kind of naturally brought a bit of discipline to me because it was something that I enjoyed doing, if you know what I mean, and knew that I had to be here by a certain time and blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a positive aspect for me when, sometimes not everything was always positive
100%.
around, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like your kind of go-to or escape kind of thing.
Yeah, that too, for sure, if you know what I mean, like, um,
Amazing.
aside from, like, the positive kind of traits that it gave to me,
I
it was just
definitely.
a space where, you're not thinking about nothing else or anything negative or, little life stresses
Yeah,
and stuff like that. It's like a yeah.
100%. So when
Mhm.
did you feel to start the pull to give back to Gambia?
Um I'd say pretty young. So like I've always been going there like since I was a kid. That's where my mum's from. So my mum's
Amazing.
Gambian, my dad's Jamaican. But we've been going there as a family since, we were like kids. Um,
Amazing.
so I've always known that like the talent was kind of out there. But when we were younger, if you know what I mean, we are just going on little family trips, go and like see the cousins and my nan and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
go to the beach a couple of times and then like you come back in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was only kind of when I got a bit older, um, and you start kind of, like getting out there a bit more and like getting to know the community and stuff, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, that I kind of started realizing like some of the issues that there was with like Gambian football, and like the lack of infrastructure and facilities, if you know what I mean. And then when I
Yeah.
kind of like matched up the two, if you know what I mean, like the level of talent, but the lack of resources and infrastructure, then I kind of trying to. That's when like I guess the idea started to come and try and bridge that gap, I guess. So
And
yeah, I'd
yeah,
say
you
that that's where it
when you're
started.
younger and you go to places like that, and you just like you don't really see it for what it really is, because technically you're on holiday, you're there to enjoy it. As
Hmm.
you get older, I can imagine you
Uh
take
huh.
in the surroundings and almost feel like grateful for what you have back in London
No,
compared
definitely.
to the kids
Uh
out
huh.
there. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
No, for sure.
So what
Uh huh.
is the Golden Youth Football Association and why did you create it?
Um. So yeah. So initially, like I said, like I kind of realized that there was that gap, if you know what I mean, from like what we were used to and what we kind of grew up with,
Yeah.
and like what a lot of these are growing up with and what they're used to. Um, and then there was like a little football set up, like a little community kind of team that used to train not too far from my mum's place. Um, so then I spoke to them and was like, "Oh, listen, I've got like this idea of like launching a football academy," and like kind of gave them like the long term plan. He was like, "Yeah, that that sounds cool." So I was like, I'm willing to like kind of support with equipment and blah 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 if you wanna kind of get that ball rolling basically. And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah.
So really, yeah, we just started literally just like shipping over like footballs and cones and like a barrel at a time or whatever, or
Mhm.
boxes at a time. Sending over little bits and pieces, and then he'd like send us back pictures and stuff like that. Um, and then yeah, literally it kind of grew from there. Eventually, like we were like, "Oh, you know what? Let's try and find a better pitch."
Yeah.
Um, so then we moved from there, and yeah, for me, it was just like, trying to provide like something that, a lot of these kids didn't have access to. Because even though the guy was, doing his little bit, if you know what I mean, it was just still at a
It
very
wasn't to the
basic level.
extent of what it could have been. Yeah.
100%. And at the time, if you know what I mean, I was like, what I can do maybe to support them, it's not even really that hard for me, if you know what I mean. Like
That
to
makes
send a
sense.
barrel wasn't mad expensive, to get like little balls and cones and stuff like that wasn't crazy.
Mhm.
So getting the pictures back and knowing that you'd made like a little difference for them at the time, that was like
Mm,
massive, if you know what I mean.
that's
So
so
yeah, I guess that was
wholesome.
like the start of GYFA, I guess.
It's so wholesome. I remember reaching out to you a few months ago and saying like, I'm very big on football anyway. Like, how can we help? And
Mhm.
hearing the stories about, the girls and boys have to share boots and stuff like that. And it's just like, we take a life for granted over here. Like, what do you
Mhm.
mean? Like, the boys are taking their boots off in training and the girls have got to put them on? Like, that
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
crazy. But to them,
Uh-huh.
they're enjoying because they're doing what they love. And it's just
Mhm.
crazy how
Yeah.
something so minor is so big to them. It's so wholesome.
Mhm.
It's so wholesome.
Yeah.
You've been
Uh-huh.
leading this association for over 10 years, which is crazy amount of
Yeah.
time.
I used to
What
feel
has that
old.
just taught you?
Um, but yeah, I'd say definitely patience. Um, because
Mm,
yeah, I guess that with something, if you know what I mean, something like this, if you know what I mean, where obviously it's based over there, but obviously we live, living in London. There's only like so much you can do sometimes, if you know what I mean. Obviously we've got
yeah.
like a project manager. I've got, my mum's over there, I've got family over there and stuff, and
Mm,
we've got like a good coaching team. But if you know what I mean, sometimes like, on a day to day, if you know what I mean, there's only so much you can do, if you know what I mean, make a couple phone calls or whatever and
yeah.
organize little bits and pieces, type up some stuff. But then yeah, there's only like so much you can do to kind of push the project, if you know what I mean. Not being on the ground. Um so yeah, so
100%.
definitely patience because like you'll have an idea and like by 2015 you want to do this, or 2020 you wanted to do that, and real life happens and all that kind of stuff like gets in the way or whatever.
Yeah,
So uh, you definitely kind of learn to be patient and just appreciate like little wins and progress, I guess, as opposed to like having like set goals and be like, I want to do this by that date, and if I haven't, then I failed. If you know what I
yeah.
mean. So yeah, that's probably been like the
You kind of
biggest
got just
one,
got to take it as it comes.
literally. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Amazing.
Um, so yeah,
What does
like I said,
the golden How does the Golden Youth Association support young people beyond just football?
So yeah, so that's been a big thing for us. Um, so initially we started off with just the academy.
Yeah.
We're about to start our second season with like our senior team. So they play in like the Gambian third division now. So so
Yeah.
yeah, so that was like the next step in our kind of like journey. Being able to like have an actual professional club for like the academy boys to kind of look up to and stuff. So so that was like that's like the football side of things. But like off the like my work here, I worked in schools for kids that have been like kicked out of mainstream schools, and I used to do like the career stuff
Okay.
with them. So so that's something I've always quite been quite passionate about. And as much as obviously we're like a football organization, like I've always kind of said to the boys out there that, you know, I can't promise any of you a football career, if you know what I mean. Um, let alone one that's going to be like life changing for you and your families, if you know what I mean. So it's always been important for me to kind of look into like what they're interested in, like off the field. Um, even if it's still if it's still related
Nice.
to football, if you know what I mean, like something that they could like potentially fall back on. Um, because you know, one, football careers are short. Two, you never know what's going to happen with injuries or life or whatever.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
so I've always kind of tried to get this message across to the boys, and over the years, like it's been good that we've been able to support like um she doesn't work with us anymore. I think she's traveled actually, but um we have paid for like courses, and like we had a girl that, you know, used to do all our admin and like photography and stuff like that. And I think
Nice.
she's like gone off and done her own thing now, and she's doing quite well. Recently, one of our players, we've like paid for him to do like a graphic design course. So like he's like started doing like our little photo edits and stuff like that. So little things, if you know what I mean, trying to like support like off the field stuff so that, you know, they've got something else that they can like fall back on or do in their own time, if you know what I mean. Like so
Yeah, it
yeah.
really does feel like an academy because when you think of like a football academy over here, like
Uh-huh.
90% of the time the guys play football, but they still, especially if you're in academy from young, you still got your maths, your English, your school days. You
Uh-huh.
still got that. And you're kind of running that kind of academy in the sense of like, yeah, it's not their
Hmm.
maths and English, but they've got other interests and you're putting your time and sending them off to do
Hmm.
them other interests. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
wholesome.
Uh-huh. And yeah, especially, you know, in Gambia, if you know what I mean. Um, you know, like things ain't easy there, if you know what I mean. And obviously there's like the cultural aspect where, you know, boys are, you know, for especially from the ages of say like 14, 15 plus, if you know what I mean. There's, I guess, the little that kind of
Hmm.
family cultural pressure almost of, you know, you're becoming a young man now. Um, how are you gonna
Oh,
potentially provide for your families, if you know what I mean, and stuff like that. You know, it's a big thing. So, um, like I said, football, you know, a lot of families, it's seen as like a hobby, if you know what I mean, more than like a career path, if that
yeah.
makes sense. Unless they really know that you're the guy, if you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes like you'll have a boy who have like mad football potential, and I know it as a football person, or his coaches know it as a football person, but you know, as a mum who's just providing for her family, if you know what I mean, she don't know that he's, you
Yeah.
know, got that potential at the end of the day. So, you know, sometimes it's about having that relationship with like their families and explaining that, look, like they really do have this gift and we're trying to nurture it, but we also understand that um, you know, life isn't football, if you know what I mean, and you never know what's gonna happen in the future. So that, you know, we're comfortable balancing that as like a reassurance to her, if you know what I mean, like or their family, if you know what I mean. So
100%.
um so yeah, so I think that that's something that we really do focus on, like and my mum, she's big on that, like, um,
Mm.
because she was on me as a mum, if you know what I mean, with the whole like balancing
Yeah.
football and that kind of stuff. So she kind of tries to like live that through the project as well. So yeah,
Okay.
I think like
Oh,
we try and get a good
amazing.
balance. Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing. So
Uh,
I'm gonna come on to the part of not I don't even know if many people know that I used to play football. Played from young, was in an all boys team until I was 11, until I
yeah.
couldn't play with boys anymore. That was the cut-off
Uh-huh.
point. I had to go to an all girls
Yeah.
team. Got scouted by West Ham. Then I went to Chelmsford City
Wow.
Ladies till I was 16, then
Uh-huh.
I gave it up, gave it up. I
Okay.
shouldn't have, but I
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
But obviously back then, I'm
Uh-huh.
talking 5 28, so, like, over 15 years ago, women's football
Uh-huh.
is so different now. Ever since England won, the
Uh-huh.
Euros, it is so different, which is amazing for women because it's about time
Mhm.
they got the shine through. But what is the struggles
Sure.
in Gambia in the sense of, like, there's struggles anyway, but within the
Mhm.
difference of, the boys to the girls?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest one, um, would probably be like the the cultural, um, I guess like a bit being a bit taboo, I guess, almost. Um, in the
Yeah,
same way that I guess that it took a while for like the girls' game to kind of grow here. Um, you've got like those kind of issues, if you know what I mean, in regards to it just being not as
yeah,
funded and or not as popular maybe or whatever. I think a big part of that is, there being stuff available for them and it being pushed, if you know what I mean. If there's
yeah,
nothing there for them, then it's not going to be something that girls are looking to kind of get into, if you
yeah,
know what I mean. So I
100%.
think that was like a big thing. But to be fair, like it's over the last couple of years, even over there, like it's grown massively, which is good to see. Um, and I guess again, it's that thing of like saying that,
100%.
you don't have to, you can provide girls with football without losing your kind of cultural identity and stuff like that. Um, so I think something that we
Yeah,
kind of spoke like a few years ago is when we started like a girls project out there. Um, and we collaborated with another organization called Super Five. They ran like a massive women's league here. So so we collaborated with them specifically for the girls branch of our project. Um,
amazing.
so we started that and we ran that for like a season or so. Um, and it was just like a nice like introduction for the girls, and we got them like new kits and stuff. And obviously where Gambia's got like a massive like Muslim population, we got like sports hijabs and stuff like that, and they were like all kitted
Oh,
out, and they loved it. Like, yeah, yeah, it was. If I could, I guess, like this, if I had like the resources and stuff to kind of like continue that, um, like longer term, that would have been amazing. So that's definitely something I'm gonna want to relaunch. Um, but yeah, I'd say the biggest issue was, yeah, like culturally, I think,
yeah,
getting sometimes families to kind of, especially with like younger girls, obviously, where we work with like, children especially at the time, um, it was a little bit challenging with that. But like I said, I think that's starting to change now. And obviously they've got like professional women's leagues out there, and divisional football. So again, it can be seen as like a career now in a way that, it wasn't
100%.
before. It was just like kicking around with the boys, if you know what I mean. And they're like, nah, that's not happening. Like, so, so I think
That's
that, now there's like
amazing.
girls spaces in football, if you know what I mean, in Gambia. It's starting to change, but yeah, it took a
That's
while.
crazy. I'm ready.
Hmm.
I told you soon I'm coming out there. I
No,
wanna
when
contribute
you're
there.
ready, man.
What challenges are young people in Gambia facing right now in general?
um, in general, I'd say the biggest one, I guess, is a lack of opportunity. If I'm honest, um, yeah, things are quite tough for the younger generation out there, I'd say.
Can
They've got like a
imagine.
big youth population in Gambia. I'm not sure what the statistics are, but yeah, like massive population, I'd say are probably, like late teens to like early 30s. Um, and I guess for like the younger generation out there, I think in regards to like jobs and stuff like that, a lot of them saying, there's not a lot out there for them. Um, and so like what's happening is that where they kind of feel like that, a lot of young Gambians, and feel like they can't, like I said, provide for, their families, or they don't really see like a very prosperous future, I guess. There's like a issue with
Yeah,
uh their needs with migration. Um and considering how small Gambia is and
yeah,
how small their population is, like it is quite a big issue. Um obviously where I've been doing the work I'm doing, like I hear like quite a lot of like people like leaving on boats and stuff, trying to get to Europe without papers. Like these routes ain't safe. Um, yeah, it's actually mad. Like, and you hear like boys, well, generally boys, but now even now, like it's starting to become a thing where like families are doing it and women are going with their children and all this kind of stuff. Getting stuck in like neighboring countries. Sometimes you're hearing like the boats are just going missing with like hundreds of people on there. Um, but yeah, it's really, really affecting like the young population. Um, and for them, it's just like, oh, they'd rather kind of risk that um, than kind of just sit
From
and
being hesitant.
without hope, I guess. Yeah, yeah, and feel like there's nothing for them. Um,
So
and
sad.
Yeah, yeah. So again, that's something that like initially when I first started the project, if I'm honest, it was, it was football based reasons, if I'm honest, like just bridging
Yeah.
that gap and develop grassroots football, that kind of stuff. But once we kind of established our team and were training regularly, and I was traveling out there a little bit more and for a little bit longer, starting to get to know the boys and build up like personal relationships, I guess. Um, that's when I
Mhm.
kind of like started becoming a lot more aware of like this issue, and it started becoming like closer to home. I think our first captain from, I think maybe like our under 17 age group or whatever, he ended up doing it. And to be fair, I think he got to like Europe in the end safely, um, and was like trying to like do little bits and pieces out there. But knowing like, coming from Europe, um, and knowing like what it's like for someone that comes, without papers, without a support network, without, a proper plan, if you know what I mean. We know that it's not going to be easy for you here, if you know what I mean. Potentially any easier for you here than it is there, if you know what I
100%.
mean. Um, but, trying to tell someone that who's going through it, if you know what I mean, sometimes getting that message across was hard, especially if you're not providing them with an alternative. Um, so
Mhm.
yeah, so I used to get a lot of like, I wouldn't hear it outright, but you can kind of tell it was a bit like, it's easy for you to say you're in London, like living your best life or
That you've got
whatever.
a good one.
Uh,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to tell them, trust me, first of all, I'm not. um, and,
Absolutely not.
and second of all, like, I was born here, if you know what I mean, and I've got family from here, and I went to school here, and you know, that's
Got a
very
support
different
network.
yeah, exactly. That's very different for you. And it's not easy for them to even get here, if you know what I mean. One, obviously, like I said, the routes aren't safe.
Mm-mm.
Not everyone that you're gonna encounter on that journey has got the best interest for you. And then it's expensive. Like you find like a lot of these families, they would have like sold their family land to like fund a trip like this, or you know all their little savings, if you know what I mean, they've used to kind of fund a
Crazy.
trip like this, not even knowing full well like how that's gonna go. So yeah, I'd say that's like a massive issue with the youth at the moment. Um, and yeah, like people are starting to try and kind of
Crazy.
do lead projects and stuff like that to kind of stop it. But yeah, it's still a big issue over there.
That's really sad. Like to think they're
Yeah,
just really trying to escape. They're just to come here, and it's crazy that they think over here is even better because it's just
yeah,
not.
uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
what does unsafe and illegal migration become such a real option for many youths?
Mm, I think, yeah, like I kind of touched
Yeah.
on earlier, the Gambia is
Yeah.
still quite, cultural in that, uh, like I said, like these younger boys, if you know what I mean, especially as they get older, they really do kind of feel
Yeah.
that responsibility, if you know what I mean, and the burden, I guess, of looking after their family. So I think the pressure of that, um, sometimes, which is I think is natural, I guess, with young men anyway, if you know what I mean. I wouldn't say it's like specific to Gambia,
100%.
but but culturally as well, if you know what I mean. I think it is a big thing. So I think that pressure coupled with the lack of opportunities, um, I guess for like a prolonged period of time, if you know what I mean. So like someone might have seen their older brother go through the same kind of thing, or their older brother go through the same thing, and they're thinking, "Nah, you know what? I'm gonna be the
Yeah.
one to change it for my family," if you know what I mean. Um, and I guess also, um, miseducation, I think sometimes, whether it's
Yeah.
like through what they see on social media or TV, if you know what I mean, of like the West, um, and thinking that, that's how everyone's living or whatever. I think sometimes that's a thing. Um, and sometimes I guess like people that have come from Gambia to Europe, if you know what I mean, sometimes they don't give the full picture, if you know what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
I guess like trying to portray that, like I've come here and I'm bettering myself and, everything's rosy. Um, which I understand almost like why you would do that, if you know what I mean, because you don't want to leave your homeland and your family
Oops.
um, to be living rough, if you know what I mean, in a different country. But then I think sometimes that miseducation or whatever then inspires like the next batch of young people to do it, if you know what I mean, thinking that, yeah, you know what, I want some of what he's got,
100%.
even though he's not actually living like that. So that's why it's important for
Yeah.
me to kind of show the reality of like what life can be like here if you don't have a support network and a proper plan and all the rest of it. Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What would you say the hardest part of sustaining this mission has been?
Um, Probably, if I'm honest, like the finances.
Yeah,
um,
100%,
yeah, I think like
100%.
like we're like self-funded still. Um, always have been pretty much. We've done little fundraising events, and here and there we might have had like some donations and stuff. Generally of like kit or equipment rather than like um financial support. But but yeah, I'd say definitely as we've grown, that's probably been the biggest struggle, I guess, to kind of keep it going. Yeah, I guess like funding, I think
Okay,
is.
well, not only is it like, your desire to make them happy out there, but on top of that, people got to remember it's self-funded. You've got a life in London and family that you've
Mhm.
got to look after as well. So
Yeah,
technically, you're in two families, just one in
yeah,
Gambia and
yeah,
one
yeah.
here. Talking out of your pocket,
uh,
it's a lot. It's a
yeah,
lot.
no, that is kind of how it feels. And yeah, like you said, when you've like grown something from nothing essentially, like it kind of feels like it almost feels like my first baby, like um
Yeah,
and then yeah, like I said, like you start building like personal relationships and you're seeing the boys grow and with the staff and they're giving you updates and blah blah. So it does feel like, something that I couldn't like really imagine myself letting go of in the same way, you know, like almost like you said, like a family member, if you know what I mean. So um
100%.
somehow you kind of just make it work or whatever. But that as the
Yeah.
project grows, and obviously I've got like bigger plans and stuff like that that I know near enough for a fact that I can't do myself. So so yeah, so we kind of get into that kind of stage now where like
Yeah.
yeah, where we definitely need to like start tapping into like some sponsorship or funding. We've got registered as a CIC recently, so hopefully that should help do that kind of thing. Because yeah,
I'm
we
hoping
already
this
did it.
podcast will help too. I'm hoping this podcast will reach
Mhm.
people once they hear your
Yeah.
story, because what you're doing is
Uh-huh.
amazing. Like, you
No,
don't
thank
hear
you.
of many
Thank
people doing things like this. So I'm
you.
really
Uh-huh.
hoping this podcast will reach out to people
Yeah.
who will
No,
potentially
yeah,
come
we're
forward
always
because
every little helps, man. Uh-huh.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
What keeps you going when the resources are limited?
Um, it's very rewarding if I'm honest. Um, yeah, and it like that can come in like so many different ways. So sometimes it might be like little things like sometimes like the boys will like message me sometimes. So it could be like little messages, um, saying that, they're happy about this, that, and the third or whatever. Or like sometimes just getting
Mm,
like pictures and videos, if you know what I mean, and seeing them training and smiling and all that kind of stuff. Like sometimes that enough, if that's, just keeps you going. Um, and then
100%.
on like a bigger scale, um we've like held tournaments, and I guess like our biggest like success story almost, like we held a tournament one time, and a boy that played for our academy, he got scouted by like a Nigerian academy. Like it was like some scouts in Nigeria, from Nigeria, that were in Gambia at the time. They've taken him from there. He's gone from like our academy to the academy in Nigeria. I think he's been there for a season, 2 seasons maybe. And then from there, yeah, he got picked up by Everton. Yeah, yeah. So he got signed to like Everton's under 23s. He went on loan to like Lyon in France. I think he's back at Everton at the moment. Um, so that was massive. Like, because to be fair, like I think I was in contact with him and the academy in Nigeria, and then like I kind of like lost contact or whatever. And then yeah, next thing I think I was on that Insta, and um, and I'm looking at this kid, like obviously because I follow like the Gambian football and blah blah blah. I'm looking at this boy and
Yeah.
I'm like, I swear I know this guy from somewhere, like, and I was like seeing it on like a few different pages because that's like big news for Gambian football, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, and then I've gone in like the WhatsApp groups and like the WhatsApp groups like popping off. Everyone's like, "Congrats!" Da 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 da. If you know what I mean. So like that was like a crazy feeling, if you know what I mean. And that we started, like I said, with nothing, and to know that like even just for him and his family, if you know what I mean, that's like life changing. So I guess it kind of feels like, yeah, you know what, you're doing like the right thing and you're moving in the right direction and stuff.
Mm.
Um, a bit more recently, we've had a
100%.
few boys that have like been called up for like the national team, like under 17s and stuff, like under 21s. So yeah, no, like those things, if you know what I mean, make it quite easy to kind of like get through the tough moments because
100%. That's
yeah, you know that
amazing.
difference. And even like smaller things, if you know what I mean, like we've done like feeding programs and stuff where we've bought like bags of rice and oil and blah 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 and like giving it out to like the teams. And then yeah, same thing. Sometimes you'll get like pictures of like the boy, like the player with his mum, or like in his little sitting room with like the little food parcel and stuff. And all those little things, if you know what I mean, like are like really rewarding. So yeah, so nah, it
It's
feels
so
good, man.
awesome. I'm looking some pictures that you've sent me of the guys training, just so people can see how happy, because
Yeah.
it brings so much joy to my face, like seeing how happy they are just training and smile on their face is wholesome. Um, but if we move on
Yeah,
to like looking ahead and what Golden Youth Football Association looks like in the future, what is your long-term
yeah.
vision for Golden Youth?
Um, I'd say so. Like I said, like we've got our academy that's been running for like 10 years now. And then we're literally about to launch our second season of like men's football and divisional football. Um, so that was kind of like a big step for us, if you know what I mean. Um, and then like I think we've got like um plans for like a concept basically where we've got like a piece of land, and we
Mhm.
want to build like essentially like a community hub where we've got a football pitch, where they train and have matches and stuff like that. But alongside it, we've got classrooms, we've got maybe like some shops and stuff where like people in the community can like set up little pop-up shops almost, like a conference hall where people can do events or whatever, if you know what I mean. So like a proper like community hub, like a little green space in there. So I guess that's our like long
Mhm.
term big vision, if you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, that would be a
100%.
big project, but yeah, that's I guess like the end goal. In the meantime,
Possible.
we want to
It's
go.
still possible.
No, definitely, definitely, definitely. So so yeah, so that's the plan with that. But in the meantime, um, yeah, we want to get like a little mini bus, because that would be massive, if you know what I mean. Like I said, where a
Yeah.
lot of families don't see football as a career like that, if you know what I mean. Even things like, supporting their children with travel, if you know what I mean, sometimes can be an issue for, kids getting to training, or even our senior team, if you know what I mean, them getting around. So having
Yeah.
a little mini bus, a team bus would be massive to kind of fix that issue, and support them with that. Uh, obviously like climbing
Mm.
up the divisions, hopefully trying to get promoted this season. So yeah, so that's our like short term, short medium term kind of goals. But yeah, the
Amazing.
concept
That's
for the big pitch, like that's what keeps me driven at the moment.
100%. I don't blame you. That and you will get there. Just know you will because it's
Hmm.
just crazy.
Yeah.
You will get there. But what kind of
Uh,
support would make the biggest difference right now?
yeah, like I said, we're running like a big sponsorship and funding push at the moment. Um, I'd say so like literally anyone that's kind of willing to kind of get on board. We're really in a lot of conversations, both in Gambia and here. Um, I want to do a bit more stuff like this. It's not something that I've always been too keen on, to be honest. But I do think it's important, if you know what I mean. To I guess like when I first started, I didn't really understand the value of kind of like putting what you're doing out there. If you know what I mean, I was just like, I just want to crack on and do the work.
Yeah.
If you know, kind of thing. But then, like I said, like as it grows, you kind of realize that there's only so much you can do by yourself, and if you want support from people, they need to know what you're doing. Um, so I think that like that's kind of when I started going on my little social media journey. I started understanding the value in conversations like this and getting out there a bit more. And I guess through that, if you know what I mean, I have like
Interesting.
met a lot of people that are interested in work like this and projects like this. So it's definitely beneficial, I think.
Interesting.
And yeah,
You
I guess
definitely do
that's what.
need to start speaking out on it more because, like, I think, well, we met through Motive Float at Carnival. Then
Uh-huh,
I only really found out about your football side of things when I started playing again recently, and you popped up and was like, "Rah,
uh-huh,
do you play football?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he was like, "Duh, duh," and I wouldn't even
uh-huh.
know. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
So you
yeah, yeah.
definitely like getting the word out there because, again, what you're doing is inspiring, and there's so many people out there that could probably resonate with it. I probably would
Mm-hmm.
want to help. So definitely, like, I
Yeah,
really hope
yeah.
this podcast gets it out there a bit more for you
No,
because
thank you. Uh-huh.
your ideas and your passion to it is crazy.
No, thank you. Thank you. And
You're more
yeah,
welcome.
I think almost as well, I guess like on that, I think people kind of almost don't realize like how that valuable whatever it is that they're trying to contribute to it is. I think sometimes people think that like, oh, I ain't got thousands of pounds to give, or
Doesn't
I
even
ain't
need
got
to be
loads of
one.
time, if you know what I mean, and I'm not able to make it out there, if you know what I mean. But literally, like everything, whether it's donations of kits and equipment or the smallest donations, like obviously I'm not rich, but the pound goes a long way out there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like people that donate, and many hands make light work and stuff. So honestly, I think there's my call, if anything, to people is just get in touch, man. I feel like I'm a nice enough guy, if you know what I mean. You can reach out to me. So yeah, so literally
100%.
anyone, anything, if you know what I mean.
I will
Um,
attach socials and everything at the end.
mhm. Yeah,
But we're gonna move
sweet.
on to the fire round questions. So I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
ask you 5 questions and it's
Alright.
just a quick answer, whatever comes to your mind.
Cool.
So question number one, football or
Yeah.
life, what has taught you the bigger lessons?
Life. Yeah, definitely life.
Oh, yeah. One word you want every young person at Golden Youth to embody.
Um, I'd say resilience.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
love that.
resilience. Uh-huh.
What's the biggest myth people believe about making it through migration?
Mm, yeah, I guess that like the streets are paved with like gold here, and that yeah, just that things are easy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
yeah, yeah.
A moment in your journey that nearly made you quit, but you didn't.
Uh, that's a good one actually. Uh, I'd say children. Yeah, yeah. I'm a dad, and obviously I started the project like before I'd had
Well,
children, and yeah, balancing that was tough at
yeah,
times, but yeah, you learn
that's
to
fair.
manage.
Like I said, you're balancing 2 families technically.
Uh-huh.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. And the last one is, if golden youth succeeds beyond your wildest dreams, what
Yeah.
changes first?
Um, um, I'd probably move, I'd probably move over there. Um,
Would
yeah,
you?
yeah, I think so, Yeah, I think once, yeah, if
Yeah.
like GYFA was, yeah, in a certain place, then yeah, I'd probably be over there and like really like immerse myself in it, I think. Uh-huh.
Amazing. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
So I like to close up on
Mhm.
a closing reflection question.
Yeah.
My question is, what advice would you give to a young person who feels stuck or hopeless?
Mm, um, I guess anywhere really, whether it's like here or there. Like I said, like I've done like a lot of like youth work and worked in schools and stuff, especially with like kids
Yeah,
from like disadvantaged backgrounds and stuff. And I think yeah, any young person like obviously I'd still consider myself young-ish now, but like looking back to like when I was, a young teenager or even like older teens, um, just that yeah, you've got like so much um I guess like so much that you don't know if you know what I mean, and how you feel like
100%.
in that moment, um, is like a small percentage of, the next 5 years or the next 10 years, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So yeah, not giving up on yourself, more than anything, if you know what I mean. You'll meet people along the way that, are just gonna try and push you in the right direction and support you, but most importantly, just believing in yourself and that things will get better. I'd say, yeah,
that's
that would be
beautiful.
my
And you're
advice.
literally doing that for the boys and girls out in Gambia. Like you're literally doing
Mm,
that for them. So props to
trying,
you.
yeah.
Props to
You're
you.
trying. Oh,
But
thanks.
Ishmael, thank you so much for joining me at the
Nah,
table and for the work you're doing. It is sensational. You should be so proud of yourself. And not just in football, but in shaping futures. I really, really hope this podcast gets out there for you and gets you guys that end goal because you all deserve it, you and everyone out there.
yeah.
If this conversation resonated with you, I really encourage you to support and follow Ishmael's work with the Golden Youth Football Association. Ishmael, do you want to let the listeners know where they can find you on social media to follow and support?
Yeah, I'd say our main page that you can follow, like, to keep up to date with stuff is at GYFA.cic. Um, we're about to launch our website, so that should be coming soon. It's quite exciting. We have got a Facebook as well, which is facebook.com/GYFA. Um, but yeah, I'd say our Insta is like our main place to
Yeah.
keep tabs
I'll
at the moment.
um I'll drop a little pin with it in as well where people can contact you. But
Perfect.
honestly, Ishmael, thank you so much. And as
Thank you,
always, thank
Amy.
you for taking a seat at the table with us. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, subscribe, and join us again for the next conversation about work, life, and what's next. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.